Okay, let's see how the last video did. Well, gotta get working on another one. One More Day was one of the worst things to ever happen to Spider-Man. I think every Spider-Man fan can agree on that.
Yes! 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 No! No! No!
Spider-Man has always had some retcons, but nowhere near as bad as this. It's like a DC Crisis event, but bad and only with one character. One More Day has had a domino effect on Spider-Man comics. Since it came out, Spider-Man comics has just been terrible, especially for the recent run by Zeb Wells. In this video, I'll be going over this awful run. But first, some context. After One More Day, we had Brand New Day, brought to us by the not-so-lovely Dan Slott. I'm gonna be honest, Brand New Day wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. One of the biggest flaws with his run is that he treats Peter and MJ's relationship terribly. Which is why when Nick Spencer took over in 2018, everybody was happy to see him writing these two really well. We were also happy to see the GOAT Ryan Ottley working on ASM. Near its end though, the storyline started to drag on, seeming like nothing was going to change. Nick Spencer spent the whole run looking like he was going to undo One More Day, but in the end he didn't and instead undid the, arguably worse, Sin's Past storyline. I can't put all the blame on him though. Marvel editorial probably didn't allow him to, and he had to drag out the storyline because his original plans were denied.
It's now illegal.
But hey, he undid this stupid story where Norman banged Gwen Stacy, and retconned it with one where Norman actually just nutted into nothing and thought it was Gwen. Because comics. Anyways, we got the Beyond storyline with Ben Reilly being the main protagonist here, and Peter being in the hospital. It gave us shit like MJ's dump truck ass and some more Peter MJ development. At the end of this run, the stage was set for them getting back together again. We got a tease with Peter holding a wedding ring earlier on, and they were happily moving back together at the end. But at the very last panel, some glowing guy appeared. And so the Beyond storyline ended, and the Zeb Wells run began. Fans were obviously hyped for Peter and MJ, and also interested to see who this mysterious man was. Instead, we got this. Yep, a time skip. Not just any time skip though, no. A time skip that undoes all the development the characters have gone through and puts us all the way back where we began. Issue 1 has Peter returning after doing something. 21 issues later and we still have no idea what he did, but everyone hates him for some reason. Even Johnny Storm pops up out of nowhere to hate on Peter. So anyways, we see Tombstone and other crime boss Spider-Man villains doing some shady gang stuff. Some action happens. Spider-Man's and Tombstone's house gets blown up. Peter tries to stalk MJ, but Tombstone appears and asks him to bring Spider-Man to fight a gang war or something. The very end of the issue introduces us to Paul, who's MJ's new husband? I don't know. And his two ugly-ass kids. I hate Paul. I hate his kids. I hate how Zeb Wells undid all that development Peter and MJ have had since Nick Spencer's run, just to bring this stupid, goofy-ass dude, Paul.
Is everything okay here, Paul?
Yeah. Everything okay here, Paul?
I hate Paul. After the first issue, though, the Tombstone arc begins with him managing to beat up Spider-Man and tie him up. You get this shitty moment of Spider-Man begging for his life, and it feels so pathetic. Spider-Man feels so weak in this run. Keep that in mind, because I'll mention more of that later. We get scenes of Paul talking to MJ over the phone, which implies Paul is a violent guy or something who's about to attempt to beat up Peter for calling MJ. I don't like this guy. Anyways, the arc ends with Peter defeating the bad guys and we get this gem of an image. For Amazing Spider-Man issue 900, we get one of the worst anniversary stories ever. It's Peter's birthday and everyone sucks. Flash died back in issue 800, but now he's back and nobody cares. Peter and Flash exchange about one line of dialogue with each other, and that's about it.
Sup, penis, Parker?
The women in this issue are written horribly. Black Cat gets all possessive over Peter. Anna Maria is here for some reason, and she talks about Otto. Otto's also here, and he's back to being a generic villain man. This sucks, especially if you read the 2019 Superior Spider-Man run. Zeb Wells really loves backtracking on character development. In the end, Peter Man defeats the villain, who is some giant fusion of the Sinister Six. He wins and kisses Black Cat. I hate how she's written in this issue, like some kind of trophy award for Peter to win at the end of a game. Everyone here is written so poorly. Like I said earlier, this is the worst anniversary issue. Anyways, we go on to the next arc, which involves Vulture. His granddaughter Tiana, aka Starling, is cutting ties with him after finding out that he was an awful person. She leaves and goes off to appear in a way better run with Miles. Vulture gets angry, blames Spider-Man, so he goes off to fight him. Little side note, but I find it funny how Norman looks like he went from having waves to cornrows. Oh yeah, and speaking of Norman, Peter for some reason is working with him. I get that he's had his sins wiped in the last run, but Peter should never, under any circumstances, trust Norman as closely as he's doing here. Nick Spencer may have been the one who had Norman's sins wiped, but he never had Peter be all buddy-buddy with Norman, because he understood that Norman was still an awful guy. Let's see, he turned into a goblin terrorist who constantly tries to kill Peter. He killed Gwen, he abused and emotionally manipulated Harry into turning into the Green Goblin and trying to kill Peter even after his death. He killed Peter and MJ's newborn daughter, and there's a lot more I still have not mentioned. Peter should never trust Norman. MJ should never trust Norman, but here she is getting Norman to check out her aunt's medicine. Paul's also here. I hate Paul. Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, for some reason is here. Why she's a scientist and wants to work with Osborn, I have no idea. Even the writer for Miss Marvel doesn't know and had to try and make sense of it in her own solo series. When Vulture attacks, Spidey somehow gets beaten up so badly that he needs Norman to give him a new suit. Remember when I mentioned how weak Spider-Man feels here? Yeah, here he's yelling at Norman to give him the suit. Another scene of Spider-Man acting pathetic and weak for no reason. Peter gets the ugly new Goblin suit. Somehow knows how to use it, and is now BFFs with Norman. Great. Issue 9 takes place during some X-Men event. I don't know or care enough about the X-Men to understand what's going on here.
Go fuck yourself.
But there's a villain, and they've taken over MJ's body for some reason. All the heroes act really disrespectful towards Spider-Man for some reason. You could tell a Spider-Man writer sucks when they write characters hating Spider-Man for no reason other than he's supposed to be annoying. Spider-Man and Wolverine team up to save MJ. Finally, after so many issues of Peter and MJ barely interacting, this could be the chance for them to finally talk and reveal what happened between them. They don't. For some reason, MJ gets all hostile towards Peter because he wants to talk to her. And the reason is Paul? I hate this man. Nothing, not Paul, not being kidnapped, not a time skip, nothing would ever have MJ acting like this towards Peter. She makes it seem like Peter's being irresponsible when it's such a disrespectful and out-of-character thing to say to him. This issue isn't all bad. The art is way better than anything we've gotten so far this run, and the story's mostly just action, so you can't really mess it up. But the way it ends just fucks the entire issue and makes it awful. Issue 10 is also tied to some Marvel event, and it sucks. Unlike issue 9 though, the art sucks too. People have been rightfully shitting on the art here because it looks so bad. I'm sure the artist is a nice guy and has done some good work before, but from what I've seen from him, yeah, his art is just kinda bad. The event this is tied to is a Judgment Day thing where people are being judged.
No shit.
Peter sees Gwen following him around and she's supposed to judge him. Aunt May sees Ben, which is a pretty sweet panel, and Jonah tries to make up for all the bad things he's done in the past, which is pretty funny to read. Miss Marvel is being judged by Captain Marvel at Oscorp, which contradicts the way she was judged in the actual event comic. Just goes to show that Zeb Wells doesn't really care about the consistency of the characters he's writing, and just wants to tell a short story, even if it goes against what other writers have done. In the end, Gwen judges Peter as worthy, which makes no sense when you look at how he's been written since One More Day, and when you remember he's made a selfish deal with the devil in the past. He's seen as so worthy, in fact, that the Judge Gwen becomes the real Gwen, as some kind of reward for Peter. This happens to no other character in this whole event, and is just once again an example of Zeb Wells not caring and going against the way something was written, because why not? We get this gem from Norman. He's also being judged by Gwen, and I really wish this was Harry. It would make so much more sense for it to have been Harry rather than Gwen. I mean, Norman literally sold Harry's soul to the devil. That was something that was retconned back in Nick Spencer's run, by the way. Whatever though, these issues suck. The run sucks. Zeb Wells sucks. In just 10 issues alone, Zeb Wells has managed to become worse than Dan Slott. At least Dan gave us Renew Your Vows, Learning to Crawl, Superior Spider-Man. Zeb Wells has given us one of the worst Spider-Man runs ever, and it gets even worse after this. But you'll have to wait. The script for this video has been way longer than my other videos, and I can't imagine how long it's going to take for me to edit this. So just please like, subscribe, make the work worth it, and stick around for the next part coming soon. Okay, that was it. Bye.
That motherfucker on swole mode. Gotta go.